Maybe we can begin very softly together without trying to change anything at all. You might simply notice that you are here, listening, breathing. Your body is in a certain position. Perhaps you are sitting, perhaps you are lying down. Whatever is happening is already enough. There is no need to be different, no need to be more spiritual, no need to be more calm than you are. Just allow yourself to arrive. You have been running all day, in your body, in your mind, or in both. Now, for a short while, you are allowed to put everything down. You may like to become aware of your next breath, not the one that has already passed and not the one that has not yet come, but the very next breath that rises in your chest. Notice how it comes on its own, without any effort. The breath is like a quiet friend who never left you, even when your mind was busy, even when you felt lost or tired. It has been here, flowing in and out, taking care of you. As you notice this next breath, you may feel a small sense of ease, like taking off a heavy bag from your shoulders. Let your attention rest gently on this breathing. You do not have to concentrate in a hard way. You do not need to hold the breath tightly with your mind. You can simply keep it company. When you breathe in, you know, I am breathing in. When you breathe out, you know, I am breathing out. That is all. Breathing in, you come home to yourself. Breathing out, you release the tension of the day. Even if the release is very small, it is already something. Peace does not need to be big or dramatic to be real. Perhaps your mind is still moving quickly. Perhaps you are thinking about what happened today, what you must do tomorrow, something you regret, something you fear. That is all right. The mind has learned to move in this way for many years. It will not stop at once. You do not need to push it away. Instead, you can slow. I invite it to sit down with you, like a child who has been running and now needs rest. When the mind runs, it is not our enemy, it is just tired. If you wish, you can close your eyes for a few moments or soften your gaze. Feel the weight of your body. Notice how the chair or the bed supports you. Notice your feet, your hands, your shoulders. All of these parts of you are here. They do not live in tomorrow or yesterday. They live only in this moment. When you return to your body, you return to the present. Let us take a simple, short pause together. We will not make it long or heavy. Only about half a minute of coming home. As you breathe in, silently say in. As you breathe out, silently say out. Breathing in, you know that you are breathing in. Breathing out, you know that you are breathing out. For these few breaths, you do not need to solve any problem. You do not need to fix your life. You just breathe. If thoughts come, you let them pass like clouds in the sky. You are the sky. The thoughts are passing clouds. You may notice that even 30 seconds of simple breathing can change something inside. Maybe your shoulders drop a little. Maybe your face softens. Maybe your chest feels a little more open. You choose a few things that happen often, and you let them become your reminders. When one of your chosen bells appears, you take a slow breath. In, out, coming back to yourself. These reminders help you create new habits of presence. Over time, the pauses become natural. You begin to feel the difference between being lost in thought and being truly here. You may notice that your mind feels lighter when you pause more often. You may notice that stress loosens its grip. You may notice that clarity arises by itself without you forcing anything. There will still be moments when you forget, when the mind runs away and you go with it. When you realize this, you do not need to be harsh with yourself. You simply smile and say, I forgot. And then you return to your breath. Each time you return is a moment of awakening. Each return is a victory. You may leave yourself 1,000 times a day, but you can also come home 1,000 times. This is the beauty of mindfulness. It is always available. Even as you cultivate this practice, there will be days when your mind feels heavy, when your heart feels tired, when your steps feel slow. On such days, the most important thing is not to force anything. You simply do what you can. You breathe gently. You place a hand on your heart or belly. You slow your pace just a little. You speak softly to yourself. You say, "My dear mind, my dear heart, I know you are struggling. I am here." This is already deep practice. As you continue to live in this way, slowly and tenderly, you may notice that even the racing mind begins to trust these pauses. It begins to rest more easily. It becomes less frightened of silence, less afraid of stillness. It begins to understand that stillness is safe, that it is a place of nourishment and rest. And when the mind feels safe, it naturally becomes more peaceful. The more you practice, the more you will see. That peace is not something you need to go looking for. Peace is not far away. Peace is not hidden in some distant time. Peace is here in this very breath. Peace is here in this very step. Peace is here in the simple act of noticing your body sitting or standing. Even when the world is loud, even when your responsibilities are many, peace can flow through you like a quiet river. In these moments of peace, your heart becomes more open. You feel more connected to others. You speak with more kindness. You listen with more understanding. You live more simply. You no longer rush through your days as if you are chasing something. You live as if each moment is enough because it is enough. You begin to understand deep in your bones that peace is not an achievement. It is a way of being. It is a way of walking, breathing, speaking, and listening. It is a way of knowing yourself, caring for yourself, and caring for the world around you. And every time you pause for 30 seconds, every time you come back to the breath, you water the seeds of this peace within you. As we come to the end of this shared journey, I invite you to take one more gentle breath. Breathing in, you know you are alive. Breathing out, you smile softly. You touch the peace that was here all along, waiting for you to slow down enough to feel it. There is nothing you need to add, nothing you need to force, nothing you need to achieve. Peace is already in you. Your breath is the bridge that leads you back to it. Your awareness is the light that helps you see it. Your presence is the soil in which it grows. May you walk gently in the days ahead. May each breath remind you that you have a home within yourself. May your steps be soft. May your heart be open. May your mind rest. And may the peace you cultivate inside ripple outward to touch everyone you meet like a quiet blessing moving through the world. You have everything you need to return to this peace at any moment. Only a breath, only a pause, only a small remembering. Peace is here, and so are you. Peace is. These are small signs that your body recognizes this resting place. Peace does not have to come later. It can be touched right here in this simple breath. The mind that races is familiar to many of us. Sometimes it feels like a wheel that never stops turning. One thought gives birth to another. Worry leads to more worry. We replay old stories. We rehearse future conversations. We argue with people who are not actually here. We live in scenes that are not happening now. The body may be in one place, but the mind is scattered in many places at once. This can make us tired, even when we have not done much with our hands or feet. When you look at this racing mind with gentle eyes, you see that it is trying to protect you. It wants to solve problems. It wants to be ready. It wants to avoid pain. It has learned from many experiences. It is like a loyal but nervous friend who is always asking, what if, what if, what if? Instead of turning against this friend, you can sit with them. You can say, I see you. I know you are worried. I am here with you. The first step is to see clearly without judgment. You might notice, my mind is busy, my thoughts are moving very fast, my chest feels tight, my jaw feels tense. You are just noticing. You are not adding, this is bad, or I should not be like this. You are not adding any label about who you are. You are simply observing what is happening, like watching the weather. There is a storm inside now. Storms come, storms go. You are learning to be the one who watches, not the storm itself. Sometimes it helps to give this activity a very simple name. When you notice many thoughts, you may say silently, thinking, thinking. You do not need to follow every thought. You do not need to finish every story that appears in your mind. Just see it. Here is thinking. Then you gently return to the breath. Breathing in, you feel the air entering your body. Breathing out, you feel the air leaving your body. The breath is like a kind, steady river that flows under all your thoughts. You are learning to rest in that river, even while the waves above are moving. If the mind is very fast, you can bring your attention to a part of the body that feels more stable. Perhaps your hands resting on your lap or your feet touching the ground. You notice the weight, the warmth, the contact. My feet are here, my hands are here. The racing thoughts may not stop at once, but they lose some of their power when you remember you have a body, you have a ground to stand on. The body is an anchor. Each time you notice that the mind has run away, you gently bring it back to the anchor. There is no blame in this. Every time you notice is already a moment of waking up. Please remember that having a racing mind does not mean you are failing in your practice. It is very normal. The mind has learned these patterns over many years. You are only now beginning to teach it a different way. It is like training a small bird to land on your hand. At first it comes for a moment and then flies away. If you are patient and kind, it returns more often and stays longer. In the same way, your mind will learn to rest on the breath, on the body, on the present moment. Now we can deepen our shared practice and explore this simple, powerful tool that you can carry wherever you go. You do not need a special room. You do not need a cushion. You do not even need much time. You need only about 30 seconds and a willingness to come back to yourself. This short pause can be a real doorway into stillness. Imagine that your day is full of small islands, pieces of time where you can return to yourself. One of these islands is a 30-second breathing practice. You might use it when you first wake up, before you check your phone or think about the day. You might use it when you are about to speak, when you feel stress rising, or when you notice that your mind has been lost for a long while. Each of these is a little bell calling you home. The practice is very simple. For the first breath, you allow yourself to arrive in your body. Breathing in, you know you have a body. Breathing out, you release some of the tightness you have been holding. As you breathe in, you might silently say, arriving. As you breathe out, releasing. You do not force the breath. You let it come and go naturally, but your awareness is gentle and clear. You are here. You are with your body. On the second breath, you bring your attention more deeply to one area, perhaps your shoulders, face, or belly. Breathing in, aware. Breathing out, relaxing. If you notice tension in your shoulders, you soften them just a little. If your jaw is clenched, you let it loosen. If your forehead is tight, you allow it to smooth. There is no need to be perfectly relaxed, just a small letting go. The body receives this kindness. The nervous system begins to understand that it is safe to calm down. On the third breath, you allow a small, gentle smile to form, maybe on your lips, maybe lie in your heart. Breathing in, smiling, breathing out, at ease. This smile is not fake. It is not forced. It is like a soft light that says, I am here for myself. Even if you are experiencing pain, even if your mind is still busy. This little smile is a seed of peace. It tells your whole body, your whole being, that you are not abandoning yourself. You are here. You are holding your own experience with care. In these few breaths, you may notice that the mind, which felt like a storm, is a little less intense. The thoughts may still be there, but you are no longer carried away so easily. You are on the shore, watching the waves. The breath is the gentle rhythm of the ocean touching the sand. In, the wave arrives. Out, the wave returns. There is a natural order here, a natural peace, even when the sea is rough. If 30 seconds feels too short, you can stay with the breath for a little longer. 5 breaths, 10 breaths. But even if you only have time for 3 conscious breaths, it is already very precious. Please do not look down on such a short practice. In a life where so much is rushed and scattered, 30 seconds of true presence is like a clear spring in the middle of a desert. You drink from it and feel a little more alive again. You can also use a simple phrase to help you stay with the breath. As you breathe in, you might say silently, in deep. As you breathe out, out slow. Later you might add, calm, ease, or smile, release. These words are not magic by themselves. They are gentle reminders. They help the mind walk in step with the breath. They remind you that peace is not something to chase. It is something you taste in the act of returning. It is important to know that you can practice this anywhere. You can be standing in a line, sitting on a bus, waiting at a red light, or pausing before you write a message. No one has to know that you are practicing. From the outside, nothing may look different. Inside, you are making a quiet choice to stop, to breathe, to come home. This is a very beautiful act of love toward yourself. In time, as you repeat these small pauses throughout the day, your racing mind begins to trust them. It learns that these moments are safe. It learns that it does not have to run all the time. Each 30-second pause is like a stone you place gently on the ground, building a stable path. Step by step, breath by breath, you walk that path. You are not trying to become someone else. You are learning to be fully yourself here and now with each simple breath. As you continue to breathe in this gentle way, you may notice that the breath and the body are not separate. When the mind has been running for a long time, it often forgets the body. It forgets the simple fact that you are sitting here, that you have feet, hands, a back, a face. To invite the mind to rest, it can be very healing to come home to the body, to let awareness sink slowly from the head down into the whole form that is breathing and alive in this moment. You might begin by noticing the contact between your body and the surface that supports you. If you are sitting, you feel the weight of your being. OD on the chair or cushion. If you are lying down, you feel the support of the bed or floor. Allow yourself to be held by this support. You do not need to hold yourself up inside in such a tight way. The earth is already holding you through the chair, the floor, the bed. As you breathe in, you can silently say, supported. As you breathe out, letting go. With each exhale, your body can sink a little more into that support. You may bring your awareness to your feet. Feel them from the inside, the soles, the toes, the tops of the feet, the ankles. You do not need to imagine them. You can feel them directly. Perhaps there is warmth there, or coolness, or tingling, or simple heaviness. Whatever you notice is fine. As you breathe in, you know, my feet are here. As you breathe out, you can smile softly to them. These feet have carried you all day, perhaps all your life, without asking for much. Now you give them the gift of your kind attention. From your feet, you can gently move awareness up the legs, into the knees, the thighs, the hips. You are not scanning for problems. You are simply greeting each part like an old friend. Hello, knees. I know you are there. Hello, hips. I know you are there. Every time you greet a part of your body with awareness and care, you are returning to the present moment. The mind, which was scattered in many places, gathers itself. It comes to sit quietly in the house of the body. If you would like, you can do a very short 30-second body practice. Right now, feel your feet touching the floor or the bed. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the breath moving in and out of your chest or belly. For these 30 seconds, you do not need to go anywhere else in your thoughts. You are simply here, inhabiting your body like a person coming home after a long journey. Breathing in, I am in my body. Breathing out, I am home. There is also a very gentle way to practice while standing or walking. When you stand, instead of letting your mind run on its own, you can feel how your weight is shared between your feet. Notice the pressure in your heels, the balls of your feet, your toes. Imagine roots going down into the ground, steady and calm. As you breathe in, you might say, grounded. As you breathe out, stable. Even a few breaths like this while you stand in a line or wait in a doorway can help your racing thoughts slow down. When you walk, you can make each step a friend. You do not have to walk slowly on the outside if that is not possible, but you can walk slowly on the inside. You feel the lifting of the foot, the placing of the foot, the movement of the leg. With each step, you arrive. You do not walk in order to reach a future moment. You walk to be alive in this one. Breathing in when you take a step, you can silently say, arriving. Breathing out with the next step, home. Arriving, home. Arriving, home. The ground beneath your feet becomes a reminder. You are here, you belong here, you do not need to run ahead. Even very ordinary movements can become mindful in this way. When you reach for a door handle, you can feel your hand touching it. When you sit down or stand up, you can notice the movement of your body. These movements are not small, they are life itself. When you touch them with awareness, the mind, which loves to race into complicated stories, is invited back into something simple and real. It is much easier for anxiety and worry to soften when your attention is resting in the living body. As you become more at home in your body, you will see that this presence does not only help you inside, it also changes the way you relate to others, the way you speak and listen. The racing mind does not only speak to you, it also speaks through you, in your words, to other people. When the mind is tight and fast, our speech can be sharp, rushed, or confused. When the mind is more calm and grounded, our words can carry kindness and peace. Think of the last time you felt upset during a conversation. Perhaps you said something you later regretted. Perhaps you listened without really hearing the other person because your thoughts were busy preparing what you would say next. This is very human. We all do it. But there is another way. You can bring the same 30-second pause you use for your breath into your way of speaking and listening. Before you answer someone, especially in a difficult moment, you can take 3 slow, conscious breaths. It does not take long. The person in front of you may not even notice the small pause. But you will notice. In this short time, you come back to your body. You feel your feet on the ground, your breath moving in and out. You become aware of what is happening inside. Maybe your heart is beating faster. Maybe there is anger, fear, or hurt. You do not judge these feelings. You simply notice them. Hello, my anger. Hello, my fear. I know you are there. I am here for you. In this way, you do not throw your feelings at the other person. You hold them gently for a moment. As you breathe, you might silently say, breathing in, I calm my heart. Breathing out, I choose kind words. This is not about being sweet on the surface while angry inside. It is about really calming what is inside, so that the words you speak come from a place of more clarity and love. Sometimes after 3 breaths, you may still feel too upset to speak wisely. In that case, you may say, I need some time to calm down. I will speak about this later. This too is loving speech. Listening is also a place where your racing mind can slow down. When someone talks to you, it is easy to drift into judgment, planning, or inner arguments. You may be physically present, but inwardly somewhere else. To practice deep listening, you offer the other person the gift of your full attention. You are not in a hurry. You are not trying to fix them. You are just there, like a steady tree that offers shade and shelter. You can listen with your breath. As the other person speaks, you breathe in and know you are breathing in. You breathe out and know you are breathing out. Your breath keeps you from being carried away by your own thoughts. Inwardly, you might say, I am here for you, even if you do not agree with every desire. They say you can listen in such a way that they feel seen and not attacked. This kind of listening is rare in our world. It has the power to ease a lot of pain. If you feel your thoughts racing while someone is speaking, notice it gently. Thinking, then come back to the sound of their voice, the expression on their face, the feeling of your breath. You are not trying to be perfect. You are just inviting yourself to be a little more here, a little more open. Each small return is meaningful. In difficult relationships, this kind of mindful speech and listening can be like fresh air entering a closed room. Instead of adding more confusion and tension, you bring space, calm, and understanding. You may not be able to change the other person, but you can change the energy you bring. When you practice in this way, your own mind becomes less noisy. You are no longer trapped in endless mental debates and rehearsed speeches. You are more present, more simple, more real. Still, even with all this practice, life will bring pain. There will be moments when the mind races not only with small worries, but with deep suffering, loss, injustice, loneliness, old wounds from the past. In such times, it is normal to want to escape, to push the pain away, to cover it with noise or busyness. But there is a gentle truth that can guide us. Without mud, there is no lotus. A lotus is a beautiful flower that grows out of the mud at the bottom of the pond. The mud is dark, heavy, and not very pleasant. Yet without this mud, the lotus cannot grow. In the same way, our suffering, our fear, our sadness, our anger are like the mud. We may not like them, but they are part of the soil from which understanding and compassion can bloom. When your mind is filled with painful thoughts, you can remember, this too is my mud. Instead of saying, I should not feel this, or this means I am weak, you can say, here is my human mud. I do not have to drown in it. I can hold it. You become like a mother or father holding a crying child. The child is upset, but the arms that hold the child are steady, loving, and patient. You can practice this holding in a very simple way. When a strong emotion arises, you may first notice where it lives in your body. Perhaps your chest feels tight, your stomach feels heavy, your throat feels closed. Place a hand gently on that area. If you like, you can also place a hand on your heart. Then breathe. Breathing in, I know there is pain here. Breathing out, I am here for my pain. You are not trying to talk yourself out of the feeling. You are not trying to make it disappear. You are offering it your warm presence. For 30 seconds, stay with this. The mind may try to run into stories. This always happens to me. They should not have done that. I will never be okay. You see the pull of these stories, and you return to the simple reality, the breath going in and out, the hand on your body, the feeling that is here right now. You tell your emotion, dear sadness, dear fear, I know you are there. I will breathe with you. This is how the mud is held so that the lotus can someday bloom. You may not feel better right away. Sometimes, when the pain is strong, it will take many gentle returns, many small 30-second pauses of holding, before you notice a shift. That is all right. You are not in a hurry. The important thing is that your suffering is no longer alone. It is no longer exiled to a dark corner of your mind. It is allowed to exist in the light of your awareness. This alone begins to change it. Over time, you may notice that what you have suffered helps you understand the suffering of others. When you have known fear, you recognize it more easily in another's eyes. When you have known loss, you are more tender with someone who is grieving. This is the lotus. The pain you have carried becomes the ground for a deeper, more real compassion. You do not have to pretend to be strong. You know that your softness is also a kind of strength. In this way, even the racing mind that brings back memories of painful times can become part of the path. When an old scene arises in your thoughts, instead of fighting the memory, you breathe with it. You say, "Yes, that was hard. That hurt me. And I am still here. I am breathing. I am holding this now with more wisdom than I had then." The past does not disappear, but its grip on you can loosen. It becomes mud that nourishes rather than mud that traps. Whenever you remember, you can bring a small lotus into your day. When you catch yourself saying inside, "This should not be happening," you can add, "But perhaps this is the mud from which something beautiful will grow." You do not need to know yet what the lotus will look like. You only need to be willing to hold the mud with care. Your breath, your body, your kind awareness, these are the safe hands that hold it. As you continue to walk this gentle path of breathing, embodying your body, speaking and listening with care, and embracing your own suffering, you may notice a quiet shift. The racing mind is still there at times, but it is no longer the ruler. It becomes one guest among many in the house of your being. You, as the host, learn to receive all guests with kindness, even the noisy ones. And slowly, through many small 30-second moments, the house becomes more peaceful, more spacious, more filled with the fresh air of presence. As you breathe gently and rest inside yourself, you may feel something very subtle beginning to open. This openness is not forced. It comes naturally when you give yourself time to pause, to feel, to return again and again to the breath and the body. In these quiet moments, you may sense that you are not as separate as you once believed. The boundary between you and the world becomes softer, more fluid, like the edge of a cloud blending into the sky. This is the beginning of understanding what I call interbeing, the truth that everything in this life is connected, woven together in ways both visible and invisible. You may take a slow breath and notice the air entering your body. This breath is not yours alone. It has traveled through countless trees and plants. It carries the work of leaves, sunlight, and roots. It carries the exhale of other humans, animals, and distant forests. When you breathe in, life from everywhere flows into you. When you breathe out, you offer something back to the world. Breathing, in its simplicity, shows us that we do not exist by ourselves. We inter-air with all beings, with the earth, with the sky, with the water. As you become aware of this connection, loneliness begins to soften. You may realize that even when you are alone in a room, you are not truly alone. Your breath connects you to the trees. Your heartbeat connects you to the rhythms of life. Your steps connect you to the ground that holds every living thing. Even the thoughts and feelings you experience arise from conditions shaped by countless others. Your parents, teachers, strangers, communities, ancestors. You are a continuation of many streams, and each time you calm your mind, you also bring more calm into these streams. You may take a few breaths now and feel into this sense of connection. Breathing in, connected. Breathing out, grateful. Perhaps you feel gratitude for the trees that give you breath. Perhaps you feel gratitude for the people who shaped your path. Perhaps you feel gratitude simply for being alive in this moment, able to breathe, listen, and be present. When you remember into being, your practice of mindfulness becomes even more meaningful. You see that your peace is not just for you. When you return to yourself, when you breathe with awareness, when you speak kindly, you help the world become more peaceful. A calm person creates calm around them. A gentle step creates gentle ripples. A quiet mind can ease the minds of others. The way you show up in this moment affects those you meet, even in small and subtle ways. This is why mindfulness in everyday life is so precious. You do not need to be in a temple or on a mountain. Peace is available in the simple actions that fill your day. Washing dishes, brushing your teeth, drinking tea, opening a door. Each moment invites you to come back to yourself. Each action becomes a place where the breath and body meet, where the mind has a chance to rest. When you wash your hands, you can feel the water on your skin, the temperature, the movement. Breathing in, you say silently, here. Breathing out, now. When you take a sip of tea, you feel the warmth of the cup, the smell rising toward you, the taste spreading in your mouth. You take your time, you do not rush. These small moments become your practice. Sometimes the mind will say, this is boring, or I need to hurry, or this is not real meditation. But you can smile at these thoughts. You can remind yourself that mindfulness is not about creating something special. It is about touching what is already here. A single minute of walking mindfully down a hallway can bring more peace than an hour of sitting with a distracted mind. When you turn toward your daily tasks with care, they become gentle refuges. You may try a short 30-second practice while doing something simple. For example, while drinking a cup of water, you can pause. Breathing in, you feel the weight of the cup in your hand. Breathing out, you feel the water entering your body. You notice that this water comes from rain, from clouds, from rivers, from the earth. Drinking becomes a moment of connection to life. Even something this simple can help silence the racing mind. In the same way, when you walk from one room to another, you can feel your feet touching the floor. You do not need to slow your steps if that is not natural. You only need to bring awareness to one step, then another, then another. Each step is a chance to come home. Each step is a reminder that you are alive, that the earth supports you, that you belong to this moment. As your practice deepens, you may notice that remembering to pause becomes easier. Still, it is natural to forget. The racing mind has been shaping your habits for a very long time. To support yourself, you can create little bells of mindfulness throughout your day. A bell does not need to be a real bell. It can be anything that reminds you to come back to your breath. It might be the sound of a notification instead of reacting with tension. It can be the moment you touch a door handle. It can be the sight of a tree, the feeling of sitting down, the act of crossing a threshold.